just, I gotta give this preface. My sister is 21, right?
Yes.
She's not 12, she is 21. 21, she just looked like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we twinning, we both short. Better for marriage, a traditional marriage when it comes to man, woman, man basically being the hierarchy, not necessarily a dictatorship, but more so of a guidance and support system versus what we see nowadays in 2023, which is basically a partnership, 50-50. Which one would you say is better?
Like I said, it's a hard choice, but I would say that in today, probably a partnership would probably be best for most people. I feel the way people think nowadays and with social media and society and everything, it's very easy to stray being in a traditional marriage. Our parents and our grandparents didn't have to worry about what we have to worry about, really. But I feel like in a partnership, it's more focused on the relationship with one another, not so much the status of a marriage or a piece of paper. I think, at least from what I've experienced, the partnership at least puts the focus on the relationship where people try harder and actually try to communicate better and try to make it work in the long run. Then I've seen a lot of marriages that don't make it past 2-3 years.
Partnership, most definitely. I think marriage put too much on people, and it's a new generation. And I feel like you don't have to be married to do the things that you're marriage, like marriage part. Like it's like a saying, it's a word. Partnership is like better for the young generation these days. I agree with that one.
Well, my family, like my grandparents have been married for like 63, I think 64 now
That
years.
is a blessing.
It is, yeah. So that's something that I've seen growing up. Of course, my mother was a little different. She has a partnership right now for about 8 years that works out really well for her.
Okay.
So my opinion is whatever you think works for you and what your values are. As a society, I think marriage is great, but we are in 2023, and I know things change all the time. So depending on, what the social climate is, sometimes partnerships work better. And I think right now partnerships is something that people are looking for. I mean, let's talk about situationships. That's a whole thing. And people talk about that more than actually getting together with somebody and being in something that's mutually respectable.
I believe in the traditional marriage of a family, where the man take care of his family, take care of his household, his wife, and accept the responsibilities of being a father, of being a leader of a family. Nowadays, the children suffer for the way that they're doing things. I do 50 and you do 50, or I won't do nothing and you do it all.
Yeah.
So really who suffers is the children.
Because it depends on your relationship with the person. Because the person that I'm with, he doesn't say 50-50.
Okay.
It's just whoever pays whatever. We don't put pressure on each other who pays this and pay that, but he pays majority of everything. And we're in a partnership.
So if he did require, hey, you need to pay half, down the middle, everything, would that be okay?
Perfectly fine.
Awesome. With that being said, will you allow him to lead going 50-50?
Of course.
Say I agree with the partnership more nowadays because of the fact that, just with it being 2023, nobody's really committing to anybody, Nobody's really committing. Nobody's really trying to make that forever bond that the traditional wedding or marriage holds.
Okay.
Today's age, people are more of outgoing with other people. So even if you are married, your wife, husband, they still gonna go off and do whatever they want to do. Such is a partnership. But I just feel like it's more married people that's out here just going with everybody as they're married.
Okay. A little pushback. It seems like between you and some other people in their thoughts, scarcity seems to be the issue. I believe people are going to go, whether being man or female, they're going to go out here and cheat, right? So it's better to just have a partnership versus us have a union as a bond and get married. Is that what you're saying?
As of now, yes.
40 years ago, the rate when it comes to our people, so-called African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, the rate of marriage was totally different than what it is now. So the divorce rate is skyrocket right now. We're at the least.
But you don't think that social media has something to do with that?
No, I think it's the concept.
As far as the influence,
we as individuals are not taught traditional values and moral compass because we make up things now. Now it's not a traditional setting. Hey, this is my job as a man.
Right.
Like you would expect, even whether you agree with marriage or partnership, it's my job. If we're in the house at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody come kick that door in. Your first thought is, I'm supposed to get up and go handle that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. As the protector of the house.
I don't only have to be your husband right now, but if somebody came up here and tried to you in the midst of our conversation, you would think this man right here is supposed to do something. It's a natural thought process. That's natural, right? So when I'm asking you about marriage and the understanding of a traditional marriage is what we used to have versus now. Now we're in the understanding of, hey man, do you, be how you want to be, you ain't gonna be serious anyway, so let's just have sex and just pay bills together and that's it. That's partnership.
True.
50-50. Which one do you think outweighs and hold more value?
Well, now that you explained it like that, honestly, I'm gonna lean towards more so like the marriage.
You lean towards?
Yeah, I'll lean more towards the marriage.
Okay, now why is that? Why would you lean towards marriage?
Because based off what you just explained, I'm sorry, people make me nervous. That's really.
We right here. It's me and you.
I know. That's really what the bond is about, I guess you could say.
The whole issue as far as getting to the marriage, that's people got to realize it's stages. You become friends, and then you get in a relationship, and just to know each other, know what you're getting into, because you got to know that person, because you're going to be with them for the rest of their life. A lot of people just take it lightly, but marriage is. Back in the day, they didn't have no divorces and stuff like that. When you married, you stay married for life. I could use myself for example. So around, I must have been about 17. I got my girlfriend pregnant, and I had to marry her. So it wasn't no thing. It wasn't much of a choice. So I got married at a very young age, still in high school. So just back in the day, if you get somebody pregnant, you had to marry them. So this is an example of how serious it is.
I'd rather have partnership over marriage. But if we do get to that stage, I want our partnership to stay as loyal as it was when we was a couple. Because like I said, without partnership, there's no marriage, no relationship, no loyalty, no love. Example, my mom and my dad. My mom was from New Jersey. She moved down here, met my dad. Built what they had, because my dad already had a son. So they worked together as a couple, as one. And from there, they built it up and got married. So they was together as a couple, they was together for about 25 years.
25 years. Oh, praise, that's a beautiful blessing.
Then my dad actually I want to marry her now. So.
My grandparents, they grew up they had a nice life. My grandmother, she grew up with a lot of money. And they ended up losing a lot of it, and their traditional marriage turned into something that was more 50-50. But it's interesting what you just brought up, because I feel like none of those values ever left because of that situation. I feel like it's the individual and the person and what they see and what they want to bring to the table. And I hate saying that, because I think that is just a horrible, what do you bring to the table? Like, you're a person. Like, if you come together, I would say it's going to be a partnership. But that next step is marriage.
My culture, I'm Colombian. My culture, women tend to want the man to pay for a lot of things, to pay for the bills. They're more, of course, they want to make their own money and have their own status as well, but they're more focused about the home, and they want the man to be more of a hierarchical figure. But I've traveled these past months a lot in Europe, and in Europe, the culture isn't the same that it is in my culture, where women really want to be 50-50. Like, they want to pay for their own stuff, they want to have their own things, They don't want a man to tell them what to do. They literally want it to be a 50-50 in the relationship and be more of a partnership where they both have the same exact say.
I feel like this is a cultural conversation that is strictly for African Americans in America, obviously, because half of my family is Kenyan, and they live in Kenya, and they sometimes get married, sometimes don't, but it seems like a completely different setup. You know, it's not the same type of consequences that you have if you're not in a marriage partnership versus a partnership. So I think that's something very interesting, and it's something that I see all the time, especially online and comment sections. And, you know, when you come up with these Twitter conversations and Shade Room posts, what if? It's interesting to see where people come from. But I just want to say it's definitely an American conversation.
It is.
That I feel like you'd get a lot of different answers if you ask someone who is traditionally Kenyan, like myself, you know?
Why do most black women have an issue with marriage then? From your understanding, have you seen your friends and family?
Because I have friends that on their second marriages, third marriages, and it doesn't work out. Why do I have to put a title on something if it's not working out for them?
Okay, but
See, it adds more pressure. If I'm in my late 20s and I have friends going on their second and third marriages and marriage is not working out for them, why would I get married?
But is
To put a title on something?
it the marriage or the people that they're picking? Or themselves?
I think it's just the marriage putting pressure on people. It's that word. Once you get married, it's like, you have to do this, you have to do that. A man has to do this, a man has to do that. A woman got to do that. No, we're going to do everything together.
Well, even in a partnership, you have to do certain things. I mean,
Yes, you have to do certain things, but you're not putting pressure saying that you're married and you're doing certain things. So, like, I have people that say, if you're not married, I'm not going to cook for him, I'm not going to clean for him. You don't want to have dinner, you don't know how to clean house. That's what I'm saying. It's how you portray things. It just makes better sense just to do what makes best for you and your partner.
what's the difference between partnership and marriage? And the reason why I'm asking is because when it comes to our people, it seems like marriage is an issue. So I'm trying to figure out, what does marriage mean for it to be such a stain?
I would say there is not much of a difference. It's just that you're on paper versus not on paper. Why can't we have a partnership and be married without having papers?
I know that for my mother, it seems like a traditional marriage. That's just not something that she financially wants to be responsible for, and all of the things that come with marriage. You know, you guys are bound at the hip for certain legal things.
Right.
My mom hates big government and all of that, so it doesn't match up.
Okay.
But again, I think that traditional values are amazing, you know, being with someone for a long period of time, that longevity and creating a life and a legacy, and you have children, grandchildren, you know, barbecues. That's something my generation doesn't see a lot.
As a moral standpoint, when it comes to us as humans, are we better off now with the concept of how marriage is now versus traditionally how we were? Meaning, the reason why I'm asking is because, as they call it, progressively, over the last 40 years, marriages have changed.
Yeah.
They have became more of a partnership, more so than a traditional marriage. The rate of we see as far as baby mamas, single parents,
Yeah.
nothing like how it used to be, right?
Very true.
So I'm saying, were we better then as a family unit, or are we better now as more of everyone is an independent mindset? And you really don't see families like that. Like right now, we're at the park, and I don't want to go too much. I want you to be able to answer. We're at the park. If you notice, you pay attention, you see a lot of single parents.
That's very true.
Here. You don't see a lot of family. Are we better off, or are we not as good? Being the fact that we have that progressive mindset, 50-50.
It's hard to say if we're better off. I can't say honestly. It's hard for a single mom or a single dad. I have my sister's a single mom. I've seen it firsthand. It's hard.
Yeah.
You need help from family to be able to raise it. It takes a village type of deal.
Yeah.
So no, it's hard to raise like a kid being single, woman or man. It's hard. of course, once again, this is all in the concept of a healthy relationship, because if you have a family that's structured like an old school family, a mom, dad, and a kid, but the dad's a drunk or the mom's not there, like, it's not gonna work like that.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's a family unit, it's not gonna work.
Right.
As long as it's a healthy relationship and you have a mom and dad, of course you have a better head start in the world, having a mother, like a woman figure and a father figure in your life.
Correct.
But have I seen and do I know people that were raised by a mom or a dad single that turned out incredibly well? Yeah, I know that as well.
Is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with as far as wisdom and knowledge, since you travel a little bit as well, when it pertains to us morality, gathering, family, certain structures, anything you would like to leave the information?
The most important thing is relationships. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship with God, if it's a relationship with your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, literally friends, or your girlfriend, fiance. That's the most important thing in life. I think that's what the focus should always be on, building a healthy communication with your significant other, with your family, because that's literally the most important things. When you're going through hard times in life, they're the ones that are going to be there for you, and they're going to be your support system when you need it. And I feel like, at least for me, that's the most important thing that I've learned.
Just work together, really.
Just work together. Black love.
Yes.
Oh, Chris.
I think it starts with self-healing first, you know.
Wow.
Self-healing. Yeah.
How is that?
You have to, first of all, you have to learn to love yourself before you decide to love somebody else. And the self-healing, if you continue to hold on to your past traumas, it'll eventually overflow in a relationship. And that's another reason why I feel like relationships do fail.
It's just a time. It's a time where we gotta really stand on top of our youth and really guide them in the right direction. When I say right direction, I mean, you know, do the right things by everybody, especially themselves. You know.
So choose if you want a partnership or a marriage, you know, or if you want to be single. Everything is, I think everything is okay, everything's fine. There's no right way to live in this world. There's no wrong way to live. Yeah, I think that's it.
Just live your life. Do what's best for you all. That's it.
That's it. All right, family. Back to next time.
Peace.